Okay, so imagine this. What would you do if you started forgetting who you are, piece by piece, and then discovered that maybe you never existed at all? That's exactly what happens to our main character in this movie. And trust me, by the end, you'll be questioning your own reality. So we meet David, this normal-looking guy in his early 30s. He's a graphic designer, lives alone in a quiet apartment. Pretty ordinary life. The movie opens with him at his desk, working late at night. But here's the thing, he keeps having these weird moments where he zones out and loses time. Like, he'll blink and suddenly 2 hours have passed. At first, he thinks it's just stress or exhaustion, you know? We've all been there. But then things start getting strange. He goes to his favorite coffee shop, the one he's been going to for 3 years, and the barista looks at him like she's never seen him before. She's polite but confused when he mentions the usual. He brushes it off, thinking maybe she's new or having a bad day. But that night, David gets a phone call. No number, just static. And through the static, he hears his own voice saying, "Stop looking for me." Then the line goes dead. And this is where things get really weird. The next morning, David wakes up feeling off. He goes to his bathroom and notices something disturbing in every photograph in his apartment. His face is slightly blurred. Not in an obvious way, but like the camera couldn't quite focus on him. He checks his phone, his social media, everything. In group photos, everyone else is crystal clear, but his face? Always just a little bit out of focus. Now you might think he's being paranoid, right? But then he tries to take a selfie. He holds up his phone, and in the camera preview, he can see himself perfectly fine. But the moment he snaps the photo and looks at it, blurred. Every single time. He starts freaking out a little. Who wouldn't? So he decides to go to work, maybe distract himself. But here's the creepy part. David gets to his office, and nobody acknowledges him. At first, he thinks people are just busy. But then he walks past his boss's office, and there's someone else sitting at David's usual desk. A woman he's never seen before. She's working on his computer using his files. He confronts his boss, and his boss looks at him with genuine confusion. "I'm sorry, do you have an appointment? Who are you exactly?" David insists he works there, has worked there for 5 years. But his boss just shakes his head and says the position David's talking about has been filled by Sarah, the woman at his desk, for the past 8 months. David pulls out his ID, his business cards. But when he looks at them, the photo is blurred, and the name is starting to fade, like it's being erased in real time. You won't believe what happens next. He runs out of the building and goes to his apartment. Maybe he's having a mental breakdown, right? But when he gets there, his key doesn't work. He pounds on the door, and a different person opens it. They've been living there for 6 months, they say. They have the lease and everything. David is completely spiraling now. He goes to the police. But here's where it gets worse. When they ask for his ID, his driver's license is almost completely blank. The photo is gone. His name is just a smudge. The officer looks at him suspiciously and asks if this is some kind of prank. In desperation, David tries to find proof that he exists. He goes to his bank, but they have no record of him. His credit cards aren't working. His email account says, "User not found." It's like he's being deleted from existence. Then he remembers his family, his parents. They'll remember him, right? He drives 3 hours to his childhood home. Meanwhile, we see these weird glitch-like effects happening around him, street signs flickering, people walking past him like he's not even there, shadows that don't quite match his movements. When David arrives at his parents' house, his mom opens the door. She looks at him politely but blankly. "Can I help you?" she asks. David breaks down, begging her to remember him, her son. She gently but firmly tells him she doesn't have a son. She's never had children. He pushes past her and runs to his old bedroom. But it's not a bedroom anymore. It's a home office. There are no photos of him, no trophies, no evidence he ever lived there. His father comes home, and the same thing happens, total stranger. David collapses on their lawn, and that's when he notices something. His hand is starting to look transparent. Not fully, but in certain light. He can almost see through it. And this is the moment where everything clicks in the most disturbing way. He remembers something. A memory that feels distant and foggy. He was in a car accident. A bad one. 3 weeks ago. And in the hospital, as he was dying, he made a desperate wish. "I just want 1 more month. 1 more normal month." But here's the creepy part, he didn't survive that accident. What we've been watching is David's consciousness slowly realizing he's dead. He's been existing in this in-between state, this echo of himself, and reality is starting to reject him because he doesn't belong anymore. Wait, it gets worse. David rushes back to the hospital where the accident happened. He finds the records room and searches for his name, and there it is. David Monroe died on impact 3 weeks ago. Cause of death: severe head trauma. But next to his file is something else, a psychological study from the 1970s about something called the persistence phenomenon. The theory suggests that sometimes, when someone dies suddenly and unexpectedly, their consciousness doesn't immediately accept death. Instead, it creates a temporary reality where they keep living, going through familiar routines. But this false reality can only last so long before it starts breaking down. The consciousness slowly realizes the truth, and when it does, it fades completely. David is reading this with trembling hands, because he's starting to remember more now. The crash, the pain, the ambulance, the flatline, and every person he's interacted with for the past 3 weeks. They're real people, living their real lives. But he's been like a ghost they can't quite see or remember. David goes back to the location of his accident. It's a bridge. He stands at the exact spot where his car went off the road. And now he sees that his car is still there in his version of reality, crashed and smoking, exactly as it was 3 weeks ago. But people are driving past it like it doesn't exist. Because it doesn't. Not anymore. He approaches the wreckage and looks inside. There's his body, still there, and it's looking at him. His corpse's eyes are open, staring directly at him. And you know what's worse? His dead self's mouth moves, and he hears his own voice, hollow and empty. It's time to let go. David starts crying because he understands now. He's been clinging to a life that's already over. All those people who forgot him, they're not being cruel. They're just living in the real world. A world where David Monroe died 3 weeks ago. The movie's final scene is devastating. David sits on the edge of the bridge where he died, watching the sunset. His body is almost completely transparent now. He can barely hold on to this reality anymore. He looks at his hands, and they're fading like mist. He takes out his phone one last time. There's a draft text message to his mom that he never sent before the accident. On my way home. Love you. He manages to hit send, but as the message goes through, his finger passes through the phone like it's not even there. We hear his mom's phone buzz in her kitchen. She picks it up, sees a message from an unknown number. Love you, just those 2 words. She stares at it, confused, but for just a moment, just a split second, her eyes tear up, and she whispers, David? Like some deep part of her remembers a son she never had. The final shot is the bridge at night, empty, no David, no crashed car, just the wind and the sound of traffic. And then we hear that same static from the phone call at the beginning, and through it, barely audible. Stop looking for me. And that's the Hollow Man. The scariest part? The movie never actually confirms if David was real and died, or if he was never real at all and just thought he was. Some viewers think the whole thing is about a stillborn child who dreamed an entire life in the moments before death. Others think it's about the fear of being forgotten. Either way, it'll mess with your head for days.